People really like this movie. Like, it's impossible to state how big this movie has gotten. Insane amounts of TikToks, fan arts, and everything in between. I don't think I've seen an animated movie get this popular ever. It was #1 on the Netflix top list for a solid while when it was released, and as of writing this video, it's still in the top 10. Every single song from the soundtrack placed somewhere in the global top 200, with the highest rating at a pretty crazy 77. And that same song was also #1 on the top 50 in America. But what is it about this movie that people like so much? Is it really as good as people say it is, or is it just K-pop stans overblowing the quality of something just because it has K-pop in it? Let's find out. I'm what you would call a casual K-pop fan. My extent of K-pop knowledge is KDA, True Damage, Heartsteel, all of the big hits from Blackpink, and a decent sized playlist of random K-pop songs that I shazammed out in the wild. But I don't have a bias, I don't stan anybody, except for Felix, he's the GOAT. And I don't particularly have a favorite group or a song, I just listen to a broad range. But you can definitely tell when you watch K-pop Demon Hunters that the people behind it are super passionate about K-pop culture, and just Korean culture as a whole. There are Easter eggs of many IRL groups in the movie, like the Twice poster, and all the different groups' cameos in the popularity polls. And the movie has lots of inspiration taken from Korean culture too, like the weapons the Huntrix girls use being traditional Korean weapons, them wearing protective charms that are said to ward off evil, the tiger and the bird being from traditional Korean paintings, and my favorite, the Saja boys' outfits in the final act being modeled, and the group itself being named after Joseon Saja, the Korean Grim Reaper. And this passion and care is most apparent with the I don't say this lightly, but the animation in this movie is perfect. Every single frame in this movie has a purpose behind it. And speaking of frames, this movie, you might have noticed, is animated in 12 FPS instead of the usual 24. This is a very distinct and bold choice to make on part of the animators, because if you fuck it up, it looks like utter garbage. But when it's done right like it is with K-pop Demon Hunters, it looks amazing. And if anybody can pull it off, it's the people that made Into and Across the Spider-Verse. I personally hate the Pixar bean mouth art style, but even with traces of that here, it's hard to hate on the aesthetics of this movie. It has a very clear art direction with the cartoony vibes combined with an abundance of neon lights and flashy colors. It's very visually pleasing and nice to look at. Even if the art style doesn't personally appeal to my tastes, I can acknowledge that it fulfills the deliberate goal behind its choosing. Another minor point that I can't really expand on but just wanted to mention, this movie has really nice looking set pieces and environments. There's not much more to say, it just looks really nice. The best part about K-pop Demon Hunters visuals though is, without a doubt, the facial expressions and character interactions. The scene of them eating at the beginning of the movie has been memed to death, but it's for a good reason. It's extremely well animated and kind of funny. I exhaled heavily through my nose while I was watching it. And the well done facial expressions make up for any lack of emotion in the dialogue. Also, apparently I didn't know this until I did some extra research, but each of the Saja boys are designed after a certain common archetype in K-pop boy bands. Like apparently there's always a gym bro, the young one, the aura farmer, and the freak. I like this guy Romance's design the most because he kind of looks like Kane, but Baby definitely steals the spotlight in the songs with his rapping. And yes, I will make this low-hanging fruit comparison, they look like Heartsteel from Temu. But notice how there's no K'Sante lookalike though. I wonder why that is. The choreography of the fights mixed with the music is also really good. They both complement each other perfectly and both would feel lacking without the other. The fights are well animated, don't get me wrong, but it's not like Jujutsu Kaisen where the fights themselves carry your attention. And what the girls are fighting are just fodder demons 99% of the time with absolutely no stakes. So they pair it with the music and make the music the focal point of the sequence, which is highlighted by the fights. Speaking of the music, for a movie titled K-pop Demon Hunters, it's not really groundbreaking to say that the music is really good. I said this earlier, but you can tell that the people making the music are super passionate about K-pop and make references to other famous K-pop songs in the soundtrack. I'm not super well versed in the K-pop universe, but some of the songs definitely sounded familiar, even to me. It's clear that they took inspiration from other songs. If I had to make like a rapid fire tier list, I'd put Soda Pop in like D tier, yes, fuck you, this song is ass. Takedown C tier, Golden, Strategy, Free, and Path B, How It's Done, What It Sounds Like, and Love Maybe in A, and Your Idol in S. The choreography in the music sections is really nice, I mentioned this earlier, and it leads to a lot of cool things that they can do with the cinematography. These shots in particular are really nice, of following the Saja boys when they move. When I saw this for the first time, I hit like the O emoji. Now, I've been singing the praises of this movie pretty hard, and you might be wondering what the biggest problem is. And it's the Much like how I genuinely meant it when I said the animation in this movie is perfect, it comes from the deepest parts of my soul when I say that the writing in this movie is booty butt dog shit garbanzo trash. It is the most weird, tropey, shallow AO3 fanfic ass story, I swear. Like, the plot is decent, right? A group of 3 hunters sing and protect the world from demons through the honeymoon, and the most modern iteration of this group is our main triplet of protagonists, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe in the group Huntrix. It's neat, like the main plot is fine. What pisses me off is everything else. I'll mention this one first because it's really subjective. The jokes in this movie are fucking horrid. Let me show you an example. Guys, we're about to have our pre-show ramyeon. It's not ramen though, it's ramyeon, because remember the title of the movie, it's K-pop Demon Hunters. It's not ramen, it's ramyeon. We're gonna say this shit 3 times just so you realize. The song is called Soda Pop. It's supposed to be catchy, so we're gonna go out of our way to make sure 3 separate characters say it just so you get it into your thick fucking head that it's catchy. So much so that we dedicate one of the 10 lines of dialogue from our main villain just to tell you how catchy it is. They spend half a minute on this fucking joke about the abs guy being hot, just so you didn't get it with the popping heart eyes emojis, framing, and everything else on the screen that they're hot. Comedy comes in 3s, right? 1 cut off the abs emoji, 1 of the pineapple, and 1 with the button. Boom, the joke's done, right? Nope, cut back again twice. And just in case you didn't realize, we have to have one of the characters say it out loud too. Why does nobody else see a problem with this? The movie has to dictate every single joke to you like you're a fucking child. And respectfully, the song isn't even that catchy. People just say it is because the movie force feeds it down your throat that it's supposed to be. And with only an hour and a half of screen time, we don't have time to waste on these shitty, unfunny jokes meant for toddlers. The dialogue in this movie is also really cringe and unnatural sounding. Real people don't talk like this. The characters all sound like they're reading it off a script. I don't mean to shit on the voice actors, but rather the voice directors, because a voice actor is only allowed to do what they're told to do, and if they're told to vomit on the mic, they unfortunately have no choice but to do so. Mira's cool bad bitch character is extremely fucking obnoxious because we never see her do anything in the movie that earns our respect enough, which is the basis of this kind of character archetype ever being likable. Rumi is a basic 2D Disney princess with the depth of a saucer, and the only somewhat likable one, Zoe, has the least amount of dialogue or any kind of build up. We aren't shown any of their backstories or any motivations, just told in a quick 30-second exposition dump at the start of the movie. If we actually got to see, you know, any kind of indication that Mira's family treated her poorly, her character would actually make more sense. And this heart-to-heart deep conversation that they have doesn't fucking mean anything because all these problems that they're talking about are things we don't know or care about. They're all supposed to have this crazy generational trauma, but the key character, that whole subplot, Celine, also has barely any dialogue, and by the end of the movie is saying the same thing that she is in the beginning of the movie. The Saja boys. I really like them. But out of the 5 members, 4 of them don't even get a real fucking name. And all 4 of them literally have a single line of dialogue each, if even that. I saw an Instagram post that I forgot to save that says that Baby chose to look like that because the K-pop industry infantilizes its idols and sells that persona. And he chose to make himself look like that because he knew it would attract popularity and help with their plan. Sure, that's a really cool idea, but none of that is in the actual movie. It's just a theory that people came up with as to why he chose to look like that. And that goes for a lot of things that I've seen online. The theories like these are all cool and all, but at the end of the day, it's all headcanon because nothing like this is ever explained or elaborated on or even hinted at in the movie. The 4 other Saja boys are such wasted potential. What are their backstories? What are their motivations for helping Jinu with his plan? Why do they even care about anything that's going on? Because fuck you, that's why. They're hot, go draw some fan art, pussy. The 4 Saja boys were hurt the most because of the hour and a half screen time because they got sidelined and forgotten so bad. It's the 4 Saja boys' characters that made me think that this should have been a show and not an hour and a half movie. Speaking of Saja boys, Jinu's character is extremely fucking boring. If you have watched a single movie in your entire lifetime ever, you can see exactly where his character is going to go after the first few scenes. Why did they have to go down the sympathy route with this guy? Since Guima is barely a fucking character and the rest of the Saja boys' personalities and motivations are non-existent, the main antagonist ends up being Jinu with the majority of the villains' screen time. And they want us to feel bad about a guy who dissed his impoverished mother and sister for clout just because he feels bad. So you ditch your mom and sister to die and now you want us to feel bad about how that made you feel? Damn, my bad, never mind, this guy really is a piece of shit. Jinu's character would have been way more interesting if he, for example, switched up on Rumi and his feelings towards her were all a scam from the start. Or the writers could have done a bait and switch, make him be more loyal to Guima, surprising both Guima and the audience, resulting in him getting more clout from Guima and more power. Anything would have been better than the extremely predictable and boring route they went down. It got to a point that the whole time I was watching the movie, I was waiting for Jinu to betray Rumi because him not doing it was such a cliche that I thought there was no way that the writers would actually write that. Just to pause the hate train for a second, even though I don't like Jinu's character as is pretty obvious, the way that his facial expressions are animated and the voice acting is really good. His actor did an amazing job. It's just a shame that the writing that he had to act out was so ass. For how much screen time he got, he should have 100% been the main villain instead of Guima. Look at this guy. This motherfucker is enjoying slaughtering hundreds of people way too much to be the sympathetic anti-hero. My point about Mira's lack of a backstory, Jinu not being a pure villain, and them not expanding on the generational trauma stuff could be countered by saying that it's a kids movie, so it has to be lighthearted and fun. But this segues perfectly into my next point about the tone deafness this movie has to the severeness of its own script. We see people straight up fucking die in this movie numerous times. In the final scene, how many people actually end up walking into Guima's fire before Rumi shows up to stop Jinu is crazy if you stop and think about it for a second. I mentioned this earlier, but Jinu knowingly abandons his own mother and sister to die for clout, and we're just supposed to ignore that and look at him like some kind of tragic hero just so they can force a love interest for the main character? Maybe have Rumi stand up business and call him out for being a gaslighty, self-centered dickwad who to this day is still killing people, having learned nothing and showing no remorse for his sins, and actually kill him herself, which would make Rumi a way more three-dimensional character rather than a bargain bin Disney princess. And after all the people Jinu kills in the movie itself does not care. It doesn't mention anything about the victims a single time except for this one news report that just slides across the screen. No small memorial scene after the Idol Awards for the soul sacrificed to Guima. If you think about this next point too hard, the entire movie kind of falls apart, because apparently the whole demon thing is supposed to be a secret, right? Like the world doesn't actually know about the Honmoon and Huntrix keeping it up. So why is there never a mention of the ginormous fire demon god or the hundreds of people that died to it by the end of the movie? There's no wow, demons are real or anything. You can make the claim that everybody at the concert was mind controlled so they don't remember what happened, which by the way is me giving the benefit of the doubt. This is never actually mentioned in the movie. But if that's the case, what about after the Saja boys and Guima are defeated? Are the people still dead or did their souls come back? We don't know. In hindsight, there are a few ways that the problems with the writing of K-pop Demon Hunters could be fixed. First, a longer screen time. I said this earlier, but an hour and a half isn't anywhere near enough time to make us care about 3 main characters and 7 antagonists. Before I knew anything about the movie apart from the concept, I genuinely thought it was gonna be a show, and that would have been amazing. Secondly, K-pop Demon Hunters tries to juggle way too many things, which leaves it not realizing any of them to their full potential. Making the story darker and more adult would definitely solve the generational trauma and Jinu subplot. I know it's supposed to be a kids movie, but that shouldn't be at the detriment of the story. If it's supposed to be a kids movie, it shouldn't have that generational trauma subplot and Jinu's tragic backstory in the first place. Trying to do the serious themes with a lighthearted tone just didn't work for me this time around. This may be going way too far off the rails, but if they just got rid of the Demon Hunters gimmick and made an extremely emotionally charged drama about how fucked up and difficult it is to be a K-pop idol, a lot of the emotional beats of the movie would hit way harder. But then again, they do have to market the movie to the largely younger K-pop fan demographic, and kids aren't gonna watch that shit. But the thing is, right, with all that being said, I can't sit here and deny that the movie is still kind of fun to watch. I just get kind of annoyed when I see people acting like it's some kind of Shakespearean tragedy of a story when it has such glaring flaws in its writing. The movie is really good looking, do not get me wrong, but I find it hard to stay intrigued when the flashy animations and facial expressions aren't backed by any real substance. Like the old saying goes, you can spray deodorant, perfume, and air freshener on it, but at the end of the day, a piece of shit is still a piece of shit. Thank you all so much for watching and listening to my rant about a children's movie. Join the Discord and leave a comment if you disagree and want to talk about it. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and like talking about all different forms of media. Thank you and see you later. Bye bye.